Welcome back to PM in the AM, a comedy podcast designed for listeners of all ages. The show where we take a deep dive into some of the craziest topics we find on the internet. We do that by making some insane brackets, by looking up some crazy news stories, and with the sole goal to make you laugh out loud no matter where you're listening. My name is Porter McNeely. I'm joined by Blake Bushman, and we hope to bring you a half hour of humor. Blake, how's it going this week?
I'm great, man. Great as always. Happy to be here, doing that. Joining you in this PM in the AM, it's a good part of my week.
I know, we are in the PM now as we start to record, so...
PM in the PM.
PM in the PM tonight. But it kind of was a big week for the podcast, Blake, to kind of start things off. We have a morning crew review sent in by a brand new fan, so I'm really excited. Blake, you going to read that for us?
Yeah, I got it pulled up right here for you. This one comes in from Owen Perpar. Nostalgic humor. Comedy from my childhood. Seems kind of like MBM Bam with fewer advice segments.
Okay. I mean, I've never heard of MBM Bam or whatever.
Yeah, I got no clue what that is. But the comedy from my childhood, I think we can get behind. We're pretty childish ourselves.
Yeah,
so that the math checks out on that one. So
I mean, yeah, definitely the comedy from your childhood could be taken as like a good thing, but I mean, also that could be pretty negative if he was, watching like kid cartoons. Like if we're like on a SpongeBob humor level, like that's pretty good. But if we're on like a Cocomelon humor level where those kids are just laughing for no reason, man, we gotta step it up for sure.
No, I mean, I feel like, they don't give us the age on these, so we're just making assumptions at this point. But I'm going to go ahead and say it was pre-Cocomelon, for sure. SpongeBob, at least. I'll even roll with, I can't think of any other children's shows at this point. Yeah, no, SpongeBob it is. That's a great comparison, Porter. Good job.
All right, so shout out to Owen. Thanks for leaving the review. As always, we invite you guys to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts as well as Spotify to help the show, and yours will be featured if you do so on Apple Podcasts. Yeah, but apart from that, Blake, we did have other exciting news podcast related this week, and that is that at about 2 a.m. on Monday night, or I guess it would technically be Tuesday morning after we posted our YouTube video, we had some explosive growth. Blake, can you tell the listeners what you did to kind of hit the algorithm?
Yeah, I wish I could, because I would repeat the same process. But we woke up and Porter texts me and says, "Hey, have you seen our YouTube views?" And I know most of our listeners are on Spotify, Apple Podcast, whatever it may be. So we don't get a ton of YouTube views, but we have it out there for the people that want it. But for whatever reason, last week on a very subpar editing job, we got 700 views, which was far more than what we are used to on YouTube. So it was awesome to see that somehow we hit the algorithm. And there were even people in our comments saying, "Why is this YouTube channel with 20 subscribers hitting my algorithm right now?" I guess we made it to like the recommended lists of whatever it may be. And so shout out to all the people that gave us a listen there. We'll have to see if it carries over.
I know. I thought that was pretty incredible. And like you said, the people commenting like, "Why the heck is this in my algorithm?" Some people like looking for tips, Blake. So you might have a career in like hitting the algorithms there, because people wanted to know. They're asking us like, "What did you guys even do?" And Blake texted me. He's like, "Man, that's actually the lowest amount of effort I've ever put into the video," and that's the one that took off. So
truthfully, like a lot of the videos I take pride in and try to, iron out all of the, the transitions from one segment to another where, we don't want to catch us picking our nose or something. But that time I threw it together. I was running a little bit behind, so I was like, I'll just do this as fast as I can. And I think that's the real secret. The more you try, the worse it gets. So just don't try in anything, and success will follow.
Man, I had no idea that was going to turn into a Blake's pro tip. That was another beautiful one. Blake has really been hitting it good. But in other podcast news this week, we've been mentioning over the last couple of weeks that we are kind of doing a rebrand, and we're kind of going into a logo redesign. And so
I'm excited about this one.
Yeah, super exciting news that we are going to be sharing those with you right now on the video podcast. If you're just listening to this, make sure to head over to our Instagram, our Twitter, wherever. We'll have these new logos
YouTube,
posted. Yeah, on YouTube as well. So now we should be able to see. Here are the new logos that we have come up with. So we have this one that kind of, what I really like about this logo is it highlights what our original logo is with the bacon, the eggs, and then even like the little toast cabin in there. Yeah, exactly. And we tried to incorporate the same colors. So we have an all white version, one with the mountains as black, all black version, and a little bit of green grass in there. So we kept all the elements the same. It's pretty exciting time for the podcast. Pretty exciting to kind of have a new rebrand, and the feedback, because that's kind of the same logo as we've had on our hoodies that only me and Blake have. The feedback that we've gotten is really
exclusive.
Good. Very exclusive. So yeah, we're looking forward to be able to share that new design with you guys and kind of take our podcast into the future. Hopefully gain some new listeners. Hopefully you guys can keep sharing the show with a friend. But yeah, we're really excited about the new logos, and the exclusive merch line will be coming soon. We already have a wait list. So if you want to give us any feedback about the logos.
So many people talk to me about wanting a hoodie. They see me wear it and they think it looks nice. They're like, man, I'd rep some PM in the AM. So
no, dude, like the color scheme as well as the logo, like they really go well together, I would say.
Yeah, it looks nice. I mean, we might have to get into hats, do a whole merch line for those who are wanting to support the show. So we're really excited about this, guys. The new logos look great. We have a couple different options that we can play with for different things, and really excited about that going forward.
Awesome. So yeah, if you want to send us any feedback about the logos, or you want to get your name on the wait list, just send us a DM on Instagram, and we'd love to hear from you. But without further ado, today on the show, we're bringing back the Not Important News, which we're going to have coming up at the end of the show. And it's going to be the edition where we have 2 out of 3 stories that are true, and we kind of have to guess and play along. And man, I've got some crazy news stories coming up. Oh man. Yeah,
last time we did this, I think we broke even. So it'll be interesting to see if either of us upped our game this time.
Yeah, no, but definitely crazy stories. I always think as I'm looking it up, there's no way it could be this wild, but somehow people in the last, 21 days or however long since we recorded that episode committed some crazy crimes, did some crazy stupid things. So
yeah,
that is definitely going to be enjoyable coming up a little bit later. But before we do that, Blake, we did have a bracket that has a winner now. And congratulations to you. In the worst phrases you can hear from your parents when you're in trouble, call me now from your mom took the cake.
Yeah, I mean, that one, I think just a lot of people have some PT. I think just seeing it, struck some fear in them that their mom had tried to call them. So we're good, guys. Nobody's mom was trying to get a hold of them. That was just the poll. But, yeah, I definitely have to agree with that one there. That's pretty bad.
Definitely. Do you ever have a story that you can remember when you got that text? Or can you remember, a specific place you were at?
No, I feel like I remember being just at some friend's house on a weekend and getting a text. I don't even know. It's probably I didn't make my bed or something something stupid. But
yeah,
it's definitely happened before, and even if it's no big deal, it always feels just the absolute worst.
Yeah, dude. I remember personally there was a time where I was in high school, and it was probably the last week of school, I think, and I'd had some issues with a teacher. We hadn't been getting along very well. This teacher may have put all their assignments online, so I'd kind of go online. I said I was comparing answers. I may have been just writing down answers. Anyway, nice. I did that once, and I had told my mom about it, the whole deal, whatever, and she was like, "Wow, that's really stupid." I got some sort of a punishment. I got some of those phrases that I deserved thrown my way. Some of the, what are you thinking? Yeah. What? Anyway,
I'm not mad, just disappointed.
A couple weeks later, the semester's winding down to an end. We have one last worksheet, and my stupid self. What do you think I did, Blake?
Did you double back?
I doubled back, Blake.
Oh, poor.
I went back.
You tempted fate.
This teacher had set up a trap. I'm pretty sure it was exclusively for me. And so I can remember, last week of school, you're going to be enjoying yourself, parties, yearbooks, assemblies, the whole deal. Everybody's having a great time, but not Porter. Because I looked down, got about 6 texts from my mom. I'm sure one of them was like, call me now. And man, I doubled back, made a big mistake, fully deserving of what I got as a punishment. But man, that brings back a lot of harsh memories.
What grade did you say this was in?
I think I was in 11th grade.
Okay, because I'm wondering if we were in the same class. No, and maybe not. But I definitely had a teacher in high school, and I don't remember exactly what grade it was. But yeah, she set a trap in the homework, and it was essentially she just copied and pasted these worksheets from online.
Oh, yeah. And her effort was zero. I'm not saying I was in the right, but she did not do anything.
I think we must have been in the same class, because then she
Chemistry?
Oh, crap. Yes, I think so.
Mrs. Jensen?
That's it, yeah. And she did the same thing to my class. Because it was like, how did you guys solve this? I haven't even taught you anything like this. This is way beyond anything we've learned.
Exactly. And, I'm over there, I'm like, maybe I just got a PhD in chemistry. You don't know. I'm smart. I'm going up above.
I didn't even get in trouble because I was like, I didn't know. I couldn't figure it out, but I assumed we had to do it. So I asked somebody else what they did, and they kind of showed me, and so I just copied them. And so,
so you said you copied somebody else and didn't get in trouble, but I was like, no, I went copied your worksheet off of Google.
All right, it's totally different.
My peers are on Google. That's what I'm saying.
So, Porter and I had a shared experience that I don't think we knew about, right?
Dude, that was terrible. Let me tell you, I remember I had made a travel baseball team, and it was kind of prestigious, and I was really excited about it for the summer. We were going to be traveling, like, the whole first half of the summer, whatever, playing tournaments, and I worked really hard to get there. And as soon as my mom found out that I doubled back, she said, you know what? You're not going to play. And luckily, I had to take every piece of a punishment. I had to do a lot of chores around the house. I had to do a lot of things to make up for it. Luckily, I was still able to be a part of that team and stuff. But, man, that was a big mistake.
You got to get better at talking your way out of things.
Did you not just hear that I said I played on the team, Blake?
No. But you got in trouble. That's the difference. All right.
Yeah.
I got 100% on that assignment.
I got a 0 on that. Luckily,
my mother did not even know about it until she listens to this episode, and I'll get a text saying, "Excuse me."
Call me now, Mom.
Call me now.
Mrs. Bushman, you need to get Blake in trouble for this. Like we talked about in the previous episode, you need to retroactively ground him for some things, and
life
you
is
definitely
really about
can for that.
Finding the way to get things done, and that's what I do. I get things done. All right, it may be slightly unethical the way things get done, but it will get done, and that's what's important to me. So
yeah, I mean, regardless of the outcome of the assignment, we both learned nothing in chemistry, I'm sure.
It's killing me in college. That's what
and I'm glad I didn't have to ever touch it again.
Oh man, I've had to take multiple. It's brutal.
So that is definitely a winner. I've always have that memory in mind. I'm sure there were some other times as well. I got that text and it was like, hey, you did something stupid and it is time to go over that. So definitely a very scary thing. I have a conflict, Blake, that I've been meaning to ask you about.
Okay.
And I want to get your take on what I should do in this situation. So my wife and we live in a wonderful condo, and unfortunately we have a African elephant. I guess I shouldn't have said African elephant. That sounded mean. It is just a...
To be fair, I don't know how many different types of elephants there are. So
yeah. Anyway, just an elephant...
A large
footsteps that not even a large woman, like a normal sized woman that makes elephant noises with her footsteps that lives above us. I think I went about explaining that in the worst way possible, and I'm not trying to shame any sort of body type or anything. I'm just saying she must have bricks in her shoes. And then, and so it's just like, stop. And it makes like our condo like shake.
Yeah. Have you considered buying her slippers? Maybe that's the secret.
See, this is where I was coming to you because I knew somehow you were going to come up with a wonderful solution for this. The only thing I've been doing is smacking the ceiling with a broom whenever
Have
it's
you
like
actually,
5 a.m.
like movie style? Like,
Yes. I don't know what else to do, Blake. That's why I'm coming to you for advice because I'm like smacking the roof with the broom. And so far, that's been a good cure.
yeah. Now, is it just the steps, or is it a moving furniture problem as well?
I haven't noticed as much being furniture. The one thing I have noticed, I think it's exercise like early in the morning. That's been kind of killer, honestly. Like 5 a.m. Me and my wife
doing
both wake up and just...
a little early morning Pilates or Zumba. Zumba is really probably
It must be that, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So step one, you can get her slippers or a gym membership, because slippers probably wouldn't do much for Zumba. Nobody's Zumbas in slippers. That's not allowed in the Zumbaverse. The other option is you disguise yourself as a carpet installation person represented by the townhome agency. You get there and you're telling it that they are redoing all of the flooring in all of the townhomes, and so she will have to leave for a while, and you just install the thickest, like I'm talking 4-inch carpet everywhere in her apartment. I mean, in the townhome. It's going to take a while. It's going to be some work, but think about how much more sleep you're going to get when you got that extra layer of absorption in there. So you'll have to spend a little bit on carpet. You know that it will be an investment, but I think the years you'll get back in your life will pay it off eventually.
That's actually really good advice. Unfortunately, I have no carpeting experience and no money. So I guess I'll be going to YouTube and installing some sort of like a cheap pad. But hey, that's a really good idea, Blake. This is exactly why I come to you for advice. See, I was going to go up there and like knock on the door one morning because I was so upset. But, you know, if I go up there with some slippers and I'm like, could you just consider wearing these? They're a little quieter, you know, we're trying to sleep. Like, I'm
you
sure
can also offer to be a
but...
Pilates instructor, so get her away from Zumba. I don't entirely know
have you
what
ever
Pilates
considered yoga? It's like a really quiet, you know,
really
it's a really
relaxing.
Nice hobby.
Yeah, I think you have to become the instructor for the form of exercise that you want her to get into, whether that's yoga or any of the other. I don't recommend the Bushman family Thanksgiving exercise, prancercise, because that is just galloping.
I think that's got to be what she's doing though. Straight up, it's so loud. Dude. Just stomp, 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 stomp.
And you're supposed to wear ankle weights, so it makes it super loud.
That's got to be what's going on. I think I've come to the conclusion. I've solved the mystery, Blake. She's prancercising. So maybe if we get some prancercising slippers, you know, to kind of pad the fall, it's going to be better. But I do have to be careful because her garage is like, if she accidentally drove through the wall of her garage, she would literally drive into our bedroom. And so I got to be careful, you know?
Yeah. But, because my other option was just to fight fire with fire. And instead of a broom, you just go full on, like, you get 2 brooms, put boots on it, and then you just like act like you're walking on the ceiling. Everywhere you go, you take steps with these brooms and just drive her crazy. And then she'll realize, man, that must be super loud and obnoxious. And maybe she'll stop out of guilt. So, I mean, I think I've given you some quality options there, really.
No, definitely. There you have it, Blake explaining how I can get myself out of an annoying situation. Really appreciate the advice. If you guys have any situations like this that you think you need advice to, you can always bring it to Blake because he brings that little creative mindset that you're not even expecting. So thanks for answering that, Blake. We are going to take a little brief ad, and then we are going to come back with the not important news. So don't go anywhere. And we are back. Your favorite news anchors, Porter McNeely, Blake Bushman. We are here with the Not Important News, the segment where we bring you the not-so-breaking stories that are absolutely hilarious. In this segment, we are going to be doing 2 truths and a lie type news stories. So 2 of them are going to be real, and 1 is going to be fake, and the other anchor is going to have to guess which one we are fabricating. We do have quite a bit of experience in researching these stories, so they seem pretty, at least on my end, pretty realistic. Blake, what about you?
I mean, yeah, what's amazing to me is that we haven't had any overlap yet, which I hope I didn't just jinx us, because Well, in all of our extensive research that we do for these things, I've yet to come across one of your stories, and you've yet to come across one of mine. So
That's actually such an insane point. Like, I don't want to
Yeah.
just glance over that real quick because there's so many stupid news stories that we find. And that's crazy that we've never even come across the same one.
Which, now that we say that, this will be the episode that we do come across the same story.
No, we did have some fans send us in some, and I was too scared to use them because I knew that you may have seen the DMs because you also have the socials, and I was like, man, I don't know if I can use this because I don't want to just do a giveaway and make Blake's life be too easy.
So just send them to me privately, and I'll use them against Porter, guys. Nice.
But since you won the last bracket, Blake, I will let you choose if you want to share your news stories first or hear my first three.
I will have you go first because I feel like that takes the pressure off me in the end.
So we're going to be doing 2 rounds. My first round, I'll be saying 3 news headlines, and the first one is, a man breaks into Joe's Crab Shack in Fort Myers and defecates on the floor, followed by a Florida woman who was pulled from the storm drain for the 3rd time in 2 years.
No.
And last but not least, this is a Florida round, obviously. Last but not least, a man attempts to burglarize Florida supermarket with crafting scissors.
Crap, dude. Okay, I'm gonna talk my way through this.
That's a good way to do it.
The first thing I'm gonna knock out of the way, the storm drain. I feel like this woman has some hobby that she gets into these situations. Like she loves metal detecting, and so she always ends up going out and tries to find something, ends up in a storm drain somewhere. I don't know exactly if that's true, but that's the story that I have, and I'm sticking with it. The Joe's Crab Shack, I imagine that he probably just wanted to send a return. Like, it was return to sender. He didn't like his meal, and so he was taking it back. I don't know the refund policy. I don't think it's that, but...
digested.
I imagine. Yeah, I don't think you can digest a return. I don't think that's... But I think he tried. So I'm going to say that one's true. And I will say that the lie is the craft scissors.
Dang, how did you get that so easily?
Actually? Now, how accurate was I on the stories?
Well, the second story, you were completely wrong. This lady's just, like, super weird. So I guess she fell into a storm drain, and then I guess you kind of guessed it with a hobby. So her hobby is, like, swimming in these channels, and so she's gotten stuck in, like, she's swimming in the storm drains, and so that's why she's had to be rescued from it.
Oh, man.
And the guy who pooped on the floor was just, like, crazy and drunk, so he just, like, walked in there and pooped on the floor. There was no return. There was no meal. He just was not in the right frame of mind. But
man,
the story. The funny thing is, the story about the crafting scissors was changed. A detail was changed to make it a fake story. It's actually a true story, but the Florida man tried robbing the Publix with a stapler. So there you have it. It wasn't completely fabricated. Bits of it were true. But I thought scissors. But dang,
really, I just with my first instinct on that. I'm happy I got that one right. Takes off the pressure. See, that's what I was saying. I got to get the first one out of the way. Now I can relax the rest of the time.
Dang, now I'm on the hot seat.
I'll get into my stories though. 6 doctors swallowed Lego heads for science. A fish commits credit card fraud on owner using a Nintendo Switch. Or Louisiana man claims he can communicate with plants and insists they told him to run for city council.
Oh. Why the city council one, dude? That's so stupid. This guy's out. But I could totally see it, you know.
There's some weird people out there, bro.
A guy thinks he can talk to plants. Like, that's an everyday occurrence in, like, Florida and places down there. So I have a hard time with that one. You said scientists swallowed 6 Lego heads for research?
Yeah. 6 doctors swallowed Lego heads for science.
See, maybe where I'm going with this analytically is that potentially they were thinking they could prevent children's choking, and so they were like, we'll pop some of these Lego heads and see what actually happens, but
Just popping
that doesn't
pills
make a
with
ton
Lego
of sense. That doesn't make a ton of sense. And then remind me the second one again.
Pet fish commits credit card fraud on owner using a Nintendo Switch.
Oh, no. See, that story is the one where it's so stupid that if it's real, usually these super bizarre headlines are always true. So, but it stands out to me too much. The other two, I could come up with something logical. I'm really worried about it being the third one, but I'm going to guess the pet fish did not commit credit card fraud on a Nintendo Switch.
The pet fish did, in fact, commit credit card fraud.
Dang it, dude.
Yeah.
So which one was it?
The story I made up was the man who said he can communicate with plants. Yeah.
That sounds so much more reasonable than a pet fish that committed credit card fraud. I need an explanation. You better have details on this one.
Yeah, so I need to read through this story a little bit better. But what it is there is a guy, like a YouTuber from Japan. He set up his fish somehow to be able to play Pokemon.
What?
There's controls in the fish tank and a camera hovering over it that shows the inputs, and it's been apparently pretty successful at the game. To a point now where within that, I guess, like in the Nintendo Switch store, it accessed certain things, and I don't know exactly the whole story. I'd have to really spend some time reading it, but
you come back and the fish is playing Fishing Simulator. You're like,
yeah,
what?
it's just Genocide Simulator. So don't teach your fish how to play Pokemon, or quite frankly, use electronics. That sounds extraordinarily dangerous in a fish tank. So
damn, that actually bamboozled me, dude. I had no.
I wish I had fully read through the story. I saw that headline and just immediately put it in. I verified it to make sure it was like a true thing. There was plenty of news articles about it, but I wish I had really read so I could give the people the full story on how exactly it committed credit card fraud. My assumption is the following: that the fish bought something on the Nintendo and the owner got a charge for it and called and was like, "Hey, I didn't buy this," and then it happened multiple times or something, and then they ended up having hundreds of dollars worth of charges refunded to them because they thought somebody had their credit card.
Just imagine though trying to explain that to Nintendo and whatever credit card you have, customer service. You're like, yeah, see, so I'm a YouTuber and my fish is connected to my Nintendo Switch, and my goldfish actually spent the $450 on brand new games. It wasn't me. It was my goldfish. Like, unless he had proof, and I guess he did have video, you said?
Yeah, that's
that
the thing, is like
really
it was on video, so...
That's the only way, yeah. Okay, that makes sense. But I could almost see him doing it on purpose. But dang, yeah, you bamboozled me with that headline. Did not see that one having... And what I really didn't want to do there, not to give away too much of my strategy, is I didn't want to go for one that sounded more realistic and then end up you being like, "Are you serious? You didn't?"
Yeah,
guess
I mean,
this
you
one?
shot for the moon, fake. And for that, I credit you. Yeah, you can't.
All right.
You can't not get it right, or you can't get it wrong by assuming that a fish committed credit card fraud. That's a rule that I live by. So
that's insane. All right, are you ready for round 2, Blake?
I'm ready.
All right, so first we have a man crushed to death under an outdoor urinal in London. Next, we have multiple golfers who are arrested after a road rage incident on the cart paths of a California country club.
Ooh.
And last but not least, we have a stolen hot dog statue that was returned to a West Virginia restaurant owner.
A stolen hot dog statue? Was this like from a restaurant? Okay, I gotta think.
The statue was named Wiener Man.
See, don't hit me with the name of the statue, because now I'm... Oh, crap. Did you just come up with... I don't think you'd come up with a Wiener Man on the spot. I don't think you would. Oh, man. The first one, the man got crushed by a porta potty?
Correct.
I just don't understand... Here's the thing. Oh, I don't see how that's possible. Is this by a urinal too? An outdoor? There's no outdoor urinals. I am going to call that one the lie. There's too many moving pieces of that to have that be real. I refuse to believe that man was killed by a porta potty.
All right, Blake, that is not the lie. So this is London. So they had a pop-up urinal,
What?
which they would like lift up at night. It was in a public, like super popular public place, and so it would like lift up at night so it wouldn't be in the way of everything, and then during the day they would lower it down. But the hydraulic gave out, and the man was crushed. And despite their efforts, emergency services were not able to save him, and he was pronounced dead at the scene.
That's something I don't think you can put that on his tombstone. I don't think you put cause of death on that one. Like, lived a good life, death by urinal. I don't think you can. I would be so mad at my family if that made it up.
The one saving grace, though, is that it was just like the headline and everything, and the story just says urinal. Like, at least he didn't get smashed by a full-on nasty porta potty, which we've talked about many times on this podcast. The contents of a porta potty is the worst, and so luckily it was just the urinal, right? At least
just a hydraulic urinal, nothing crazy. When you said that in my head, I was imagining there was like a crane with the urinal swinging up. They were transporting it, and a guy just got domed as he was walking by, which would be a much worse way to die, I think. The hydraulic urinal, at least you have, nobody's beating a hydraulic press, so at least that guy can carry some sort of dignity into the afterlife of.
Yeah, honestly, like, rest in peace to that guy. Like, we're sad that you died, and that's a terrible way to go.
We
out.
Don't want to make jokes about it.
Yeah,
but
so
funny.
Did.
I mean, listen, I'm only so big a man. All right, you died by urinal. There's a line that I have to talk about. All right, I'll get into my next stories here. Let's see if you can.
You didn't even want to know what one was fake?
Oh wait, yeah. Which one was fake? I kept thinking that one was fake. I forget I got it wrong.
So you were on to me. I gave away a little too many details about the Wiener Man, which was true, and it was the California Country Club golf cart road rage incident that I fabricated. That one was 100% made up, but I knew it could kind of just slide by with the other stories.
Yeah, I mean, I just didn't even think about it. It just seemed so realistic, like weird enough to make it on the podcast, but realistic. So yeah, Wiener Man, that had to be. I didn't think he made up Wiener Man. Nobody pulls Wiener Man out of their hat. Like, that's not I don't know who came up with that name in the first place, but it was a much deliberated statue name. So
yeah, and let me just say quickly, the restaurant was very happy to get him back.
Oh well, I'm sure. I don't know how you operate without Wiener Man. So
exactly.
All right, let me get into my next ones here. All right. A landfill renamed to Mount Trashmore as local government pledges to turn it into a park by 2030. Disney's Splash Mountain ride's water sells on eBay for thousands following the closure of the beloved ride. McDonald's customer mistakenly given a bag of thousands of dollars in cash instead of food.
All right, so you're in trouble here, not because I looked at one of these stories as doing it, but because my wife is a very big Disney fan, and so I think that has kind of implemented some of the Disney into my algorithm. And so on my reels or whatever, I'm scrolling, and I've seen the Splash Mountain water for sale, and it is quite expensive for a tiny jar. But more than that, I just wanted to imagine the idiots riding the ride with 14 mason jars, filling up water. Yeah, like what? Bro, do they not know that the ride is still going to be like, they're taking out the animatronic Splash Mountain things and turning it into Princess and the Frog. Like, it's still going to have the same water.
Well, it's funny because I thought, because I know your wife is a huge Disney fan, so I was like, do I want to do this one? Do I not want to? But then I came to the conclusion that I didn't even know Splash Mountain was closing, so maybe that its water was being sold on eBay was not the most well-known news. So you did have me on that one.
All right, so now I'm between Mount Trashmore and what was the last one again?
A man received a bag full of money at McDonald's instead of his food.
So I'm thinking I have seen like the reverse footage of a man robbing McDonald's, and it looks like he's putting money back in the cash register. I don't know if that's kind of where you're getting your
No, this
ideas
was
from.
like he ordered a McDonald's and then
that's why I'm
had a whole
trying
bunch of
to.
money in it. Oh, you're saying if I okay?
I
see what
don't
you're
know
saying.
if you just saw that video and you're trying to make that up. Trashmore sounds like something they would have done on the show Parks and Rec. It does sound like a really good idea.
Trashmore.
Turn the landfill into a park. That sounds like such a good idea that I'm gonna take Mount Trashmore.
You're saying that's the lie?
That's the lie.
You are correct.
Let's go.
That is a lie. It was inspired by Parks and Rec, just ironically. So yeah, Mount
amazing.
Trashmore.
When you
fully
said that, you know
fabricated.
the scene in that show when there's just like a tiny, like they spend so much time making the tiniest park. I don't know why that came to mind. So shout out to Parks and Rec for keeping me from
great show.
losing to you
Great
today.
show.
We tied again, Blake. Seems like we have the same deciphering news stories abilities. We about
that's
1
true.
for 2 every week. But man, those were some great stories this week. Really enjoyed it, and I'm kind of sad because I think Mount Trashmore would make the world a better place. You know?
Yeah, I mean, local officials, if you're listening to this podcast, as I know many of you do, feel free to use my idea. It's
That's a great idea.
really good idea. You can have a swing made out of recycled soda cans or something. I mean, I think the possibilities are endless. So
You know who should pick this up is South Dakota, right? I actually don't know if the Mount Rushmore's in South Dakota or North Dakota. I think
I think
it's
the
South Dakota.
other Dakota should do it. I think
yeah.
just to create some competition. I want a civil war of Dakotas. Just really got Mount
Exactly.
Rushmore, Mount Trashmore.
Because like I feel like 99% of people that go to Mount Rushmore do a road trip, and they got to go through whatever the South Dakota is. I think on the bottom would make sense. They had to drive through there.
I believe
Imagine
South
if there
Dakota
was-
is in the South. Yeah, I think they thought about that when they were naming North and South Dakota.
Yeah, but I got no idea where Mount Rushmore is what I'm saying. But as people are driving to Mount Rushmore, they should have to pass Mount Trashmore, which is a giant park filled with things that kids can actually be excited about, because no kids really care about going to see the rocks and the president's faces in the rocks or whatever. But if there was like a giant park, could be a really good publicity stunt. Dakota, whichever
Yeah.
Dakota it is in. So.
Yeah. Now, whose faces would you want on Mount Trashmore? I don't think we need to do presidents. That's already been done. You don't want to duplicate it too much, but I think
Mount Trashmore.
yeah. Is it just the trashiest people? Is that what we go with?
Like the biggest scumbags? Just no, because we're trying to listen to a park. I'm in a completely different way. I was thinking like we find the CEO of Waste Management.
Oh,
and,
put him up there. Yeah,
whatever other garbage companies we can find.
that's good. That's good. I like that. Yeah,
Who would you have on your Mount Trashmore?
that's a good question. Now you're hitting me with the CEO of Waste Management. So if I say anything else, I feel like. So I know. I think that's great. I think
Maybe a little
I think
Oscar
I
the
should be
Grouch
up there
action?
since it was my idea. So
All right.
me, the CEO of Waste Management, and then like
And Oscar the Grouch.
yeah, Oscar the Grouch. I think us three. I don't think you need to go all the way to 4. I think we really round that out pretty well. It's
As you're saying this, I'm already looking forward to making the graphic. This is like the most fun graphic I've had to make in a long time. So I'm excited. I'm going to hopefully do that for the episode launch or something. But, I mean, before we get too crazy, we're already losing it a little bit. Thanks for tuning into this week's edition of PM in the AM. Thanks, Blake, for your amazing news stories and content this week.
Thank you.
You got anything for the listeners on the way out?
No, I mean, and besides that, if you've been needing to commit tax fraud, buy a goldfish, teach it how to play Pokemon, and magical things can happen. So, bright futures ahead for our listeners, I think.
Awesome. Thanks so much for tuning in this week, and we will catch you guys on the next one.
Peace out.
Congrats on making it all the way to the end. We hope you enjoyed the show. You are now officially part of the PM and the AM fan base, the morning people, and we are super pumped to have you here. Now that you're a part of the crew, please share the episode with a friend, and make sure to check out the rest of our shows and social media content for more hilarious brackets, crazy questions, and an overall great time. Thanks for listening. It truly means a lot to us, and we'll catch you guys next week.